Behold this infant, so tender, so pure. You might assume this youngster would mature into a decent individual, a truthful one. Well, reconsider. Hitler entered the world as Adolphus Hitler in 1889 in a modest village in Austria-Hungary. His dad, Alois Skickelgruber, arrived illegitimate, but later adopted his stepdad's surname, turning into Alois Hitler. Alois held a mid-tier position as an Austrian customs agent, not exactly wealthy, but definitely involved with multiple women. He wed an affluent elderly woman, yet promptly began extramarital relationships, including one with a far younger household maid. Several years on, he abandoned his ill spouse to live with his lover. However, as the Catholic Church forbade divorce back then, he couldn't wed her. So he awaited his former wife's passing and fathered a kid meanwhile. Then his spouse passed away, allowing him to marry his lover and produce another offspring. But soon his fresh wife fell ill. Thus he hired his considerably younger relative, Clara, to look after her. Following his new wife's death, he swiftly impregnated Clara, his kin, and subsequently married her. In that sequence, legend. Clara and Alois produced 3 offspring jointly who all sadly perished during early childhood. Therefore, when the 4th offspring, Adolf, arrived, Clara pampered him excessively. The Hitlers added 2 additional children, and the household relocated several times, resulting in Adolf attending 5 various primary schools. Adolf's dad was harsh, prone to fury, and directed much of it toward the oldest boy until he couldn't take it and fled at age 14, leaving 7-year-old Adolf to handle most tasks and endure his father's scoldings. The outcome was a strained bond with his father while he remained deeply bonded to his mom, who fretted about him and his well-being overly. Hitler performed strongly in academics initially. His marks were solid and his instructors commended him. He was well-liked among peers and relished assembling them for battle simulations. He also adored literature and especially favored tales of frontiersmen and Native Americans. As he aged, however, he began causing mischief. He got caught puffing tobacco once, led an assault on a nearby fruit grove, harassed his pro-Austrian faith instructor with emblematic actions, showing his loyalty to the concept of unified Teutonic folk under a larger German nation and resistance to Habsburg Austria. Typical stuff. All this infuriated Adolf's dad, who disciplined him harshly. The region of Austria-Hungary where Hitler resided had formerly belonged to the German Confederation, and numerous residents there viewed themselves as German. Adolf often opposed whatever his dad stated, and since his dad served as an Austrian government worker, Hitler embraced intense German patriotism. This infuriated Adolf's dad, who disciplined him harshly. During this period, a family misfortune occurred. His 6-year-old sibling, whom he cherished greatly, succumbed to measles when Adolf was 10 and was interred in the graveyard right opposite their residence. Around then, locals noticed a shift in the young lad. Odd habits like conversing with foliage and remaining awake late gazing at celestial bodies from the graveyard barriers. He forfeited enthusiasm for faith, and his academic performance began to drop, which infuriated his dad, who disciplined him harshly. It didn't aid that he had recently started secondary school, and the stylish urban lads regarded him as a countryside bumpkin. He needed to redo a year and showed scant curiosity in most curriculum areas, instead devoting his hours to perusing and sketching, at which he excelled. One day his dad declared, "Son, someday you'll become a prominent public servant like myself." And Adolf responded, "No, father, I'm destined to be an artist and ascend lofty among the skies with the birds of prey." This infuriated his dad, but by now he was an elderly fellow, so he essentially dismissed it and then perished from a pulmonary bleed. Hitler barely succeeded in his concluding term and commemorated in the standard manner by becoming utterly intoxicated and using the diploma as toilet tissue. Nevertheless, he skipped the comprehensive final academic test, instead simply quitting. The now 16-year-old youth was jobless, lacking significant direction in existence, and for the subsequent 3 years he persisted thus. He passed most of his days at the theater with his sole companion, August Kubizek. Kubizek subsequently penned his recollections of the youthful Hitler and noted he was fervently engaged in numerous topics, believed he surpassed others his age in various aspects, was swift to rage akin to his dad, and a remarkable orator when venting. When he reached 18, he bid a deeply sorrowful farewell to his mom and traveled to Vienna to attempt the admission test for Artistic Academy. He flunked. Shortly thereafter, he needed to head back home. His mom was ailing and her condition was swiftly worsening. Hitler remained beside her, and when she ultimately passed, the household physician remarked he had never witnessed anyone so consumed by sorrow as Hitler appeared. Then Hitler went back to Vienna, still aspiring to pursue a vocation in creativity, but he never succeeded. Instead, devoid of family backing, Hitler wound up homeless. Now in his early 20s, he endured a few harsh years residing in and out of shelters for the destitute, earning minimal from vending illustrated postcards he created. It's challenging to identify precisely when and how Hitler's radical ideological views developed, but his period in Vienna undoubtedly contributed. Hostility toward Jews was prevalent in the metropolis. The mayor, whom Hitler backed, was a vocal opponent of Jews. There existed numerous conservative anti-Jewish publications, which Hitler followed eagerly. He accepted the plot theories and grew into a staunch adherent to the notion that multiple ethnic groups are in perpetual conflict, the most unadulterated being the German Aryan race and the most inferior, he thought, being Jews. Since Austria-Hungary constituted a diverse empire teeming with inferior groups, Hitler disapproved. So at 24, he relocated to Munich in Germany to evade compulsory military duty, and for another year he wandered aimlessly until a massive event transpired. In 1914, enduring frictions in Europe exploded into the First World War. Masses throughout Europe rejoiced at the announcement. Within days, Hitler enlisted in the German forces. The conflict provided him with meaning. His comrades offered camaraderie and solidarity. Despite the atrocities of battle, Hitler regarded it as the finest phase of his existence. He was allegedly a valiant fighter and received the Iron Cross, First Class. He was also extremely fortunate and experienced numerous near-fatal incidents. His fortune expired in 1916, though, when a cannon projectile wounded his limb. He returned to Germany for recuperation and was incensed to discover a widespread, indifferent opposition to war among the fatigued and famished German citizens. With the conflict shifting against Germany, he rejoined the battlefront, but was momentarily sightless from a British chemical assault in 1918. A month later, still healing in medical facility, Hitler discovered Germany's loss and capitulation. The stipulations of the armistice were severe for Germany. It required substantial payments and troop reductions. These circumstances debilitated Germany and shamed its populace. Europe's frontiers altered post-war as well. Fresh nations emerged from Russia's forfeited lands. Austria-Hungary disintegrated, and one large new nation divided Germany in half. Hitler, witnessing the nation he adored demeaned thus, stated that animosity flourished in him toward those accountable, meaning communists and Jews, whom he felt had betrayed Germany by disseminating discord and pacifist messages domestically.